Hey guys, Stephen Mogren here, Pro Physique. Today I want to talk about your mental diet. So what's up, big homies, small homies, and in fact homies of all sizes? What is up? Ooh, mental diet. That's a fucking tough one, right? That is kind of a big mountain to climb. So I think it definitely presents itself on regular occasion with many every single person I work with. So what does that even mean? What is my mental diet? What the fuck are you talking about, Steven? I'm talking about the psychological things that influence you on a daily basis, either on a conscious or even a subconscious level. Things that we might not even recognize are in fact having a positive or a negative impact on us. And so I think for me, there's a couple ways that we can sort of look at this, right? I think the big one is people who are overtly negative. Things that are overtly negative. We know very well that when we're interacting with this person, this thing, we feel more stressed out, more anxiety, more nervousness, less self-confidence, right? Instead of feeling like we're being built up, we typically tend to feel like we're being broken down. Now, if that is the majority of the interaction with this person, that is the majority of interaction with this thing, and we see it overtly, that's one of those times when it may be more beneficial for us to simply cut ties, right? Now, much easier said than done, especially if it is, somebody that's important to us, something that's important to us, or something we don't have control over. Job stress, big one right there. We don't have control over that. We can't just quit and say back, fuck it. You know what I mean? There's bills to pay. There's mouths to feed. I have a little cute dog. He needs food too. So some of these things we don't have control over. If that's the case, we want to do the best that we can in terms of managing those stressors and those negative things that are coming at us, right? Now, sometimes that means if it's work or if it's a specific situation, mentally preparing ourselves to understand there's gonna be some bullshit today. I need to do my best to not allow the bullshit to get in. I want to keep the bullshit superficial. So I made a little bit of a post, and it was something I said to somebody. It's like, it's easy to get caught up in the bullshit, but you have to remember that it is in fact still bullshit. If we lose sight of this, we can give it so much clout that it becomes much more so. It becomes a much bigger deal, right? If we have a little bit of BS in our lives, that's probably not the worst thing in the world. First world problems 101, right? So we want to first and foremost make sure that we're addressing the severity and importance of issues accordingly, right? Now, doing some simple things like mentally preparing, giving ourselves an extra 5 minutes to sit in the car, mentally prepare, maybe center ourselves, do a little bit of meditation, stress management, progressive relaxation, diaphragmatic breathing before we go in so that we enter in a wonderful spot, right? Not a bad idea. Doing that throughout the day, maybe on a lunch break, taking some time for some meditation, some self-reflection. Also, not a bad thing, right? Those can be super helpful. But personal life, we have a very much control over that, right? If I choose to be around people who break me down, who don't build me up, who make me feel worse, who make me question myself, my values, on a consistent basis, in a negative connotation, right? Because there's nothing wrong with your friends challenging you to become a better person, right? And that's a whole different subject, right? That is a hard thing, right? For our friends to call us out on our bullshit, tell us when we're wrong. It's the way that we go about it, right? Hey dude, like, I know that you think you're doing the right thing, but you're kind of being an asshole here. Happens, And that's something that we need too. But again, are they doing it to build you up and make you better, or is it all in a negative connotation to break you down? Those are the ones where we need to say, okay, maybe I don't need to talk to these people. Maybe I need to just take a break. Maybe I need to just put some space in between. A lot of the times people might not even recognize what they're doing or the effect that it has on you, right? However, that doesn't mean that that's still okay. Okay? It doesn't mean that just because I don't realize how I affect people, that I'm not still accountable to the fact that I'm affecting people, right? So we want to make sure that we not only hold ourselves accountable to that standard, but the people in our lives accountable to that standard as well, right? If the people that are in my life are giving me love, they're building me up, they're making me a better person, I need to be accountable and responsible to making sure that I am returning that to them as well. It is very, very important, okay? So it might mean we have to take a break. It might mean we have to, drop them off completely. It might just mean that we need to have one of those supportive conversations like, hey dude, I know that, you're having your own stuff going on, but when you do this or that, like, it now negatively affects me. I'm trying to do these things and I want to be around you, but it makes it very hard to be around you because it brings me down on a consistent basis. They might respond well, they might respond poorly. Their response is not your problem. Your problem is being honest with them if you're trying to continue an important relationship going. Now, what about the things that we don't realize impact us? That's the hard part, right? There is consistently, constantly, always something going on that is affecting you subconsciously. Most of my clients, what I realize this is, it is social media and sometimes just legitimate conversations, right? Other people talking about their weight, other people talking about stage, other people doing, and it's not necessarily those other people's fault, right? But it's one of those things like, again, if we're gonna have those conversations, we want them to be positive, we want them to be uplifting, we wanna be on a good note with them, right? So typically when those things are negatively affecting somebody, it's because the connotations, the context of those conversations and comments is typically negative, right? I find that this is much more so true for clients who are a little bit further away from stage. When they hear other people that are closer to stage or even at stage having those negative self-comments, self-talk coming out loud, that's when those other people tend to be highly influenced by that. And I've noticed this based on just adherence and mood state, some other things that I hear from clients kind of in those positions. And again, like, it's one of those things like we just have to be honest with ourselves. And we're not always going to have the best opinions or the best feelings about maybe a certain package that we bring or where we're at, right? That takes a lot of self-reflection, self-confidence, working on ourselves. And it's a daily battle and a lifelong battle, right? But we have to also be aware that if I'm getting ready for stage, my comments can very easily have an effect on the people around me, and it's either going to build them up or it's going to break them down. So we want to be personally accountable to ourselves for what we say and what we do, but we also want to be aware and cognizant about how our friends, families, or the people that are around us and impact us on a regular basis on what they're saying and how that affects us subconsciously. Obviously, social media is a big one. If we're continually looking at stage and looking at stage and looking at stage, it's a very unrealistic ideal that's put forward for us. So we don't want to constantly be focused on something that is temporary, especially if we know like, hey, we need to go into a building season, we're taking some time off, like we had a really hard time in this last diet, we had to push really hard, we barely made it, the body's just not responding, whatever the case might be, right? The more that we look at that, and then again, this is individually dependent, but it could be doing more harm than good. Social media is a highlight reel. I know, I've said this a million times, I know everybody deep down knows it, but it's the same as marketing. It's a highlight reel. They're showing you the best thing that they have so that they can sell you that they are the best person they could possibly be. I get it. I want to be awesome too, but there's times I'm kind of a piece of shit. It happens, dude. And that's me having to be real with me and understand like I still have a lot of things to work on, and that's okay. Which is why what I want to put out there is just a real dude. So it's important that we kind of can hit the gas and hit the brakes and know when these things are kind of building up, having that big effect on us, right? And these are just really some simple things, and I know they're probably a little bit more competitor based, but if you're just trying to lose weight, we don't need to have unrealistic expectations. I don't want you to think that we need to lose 20 pounds this week, right? That's not setting you up for success in the long term. It's not setting you up for a healthy lifestyle. It's not setting you up for, anything good. It sets us up for failure. okay? And I want you to be set up for success. I want you to be set up for happiness and growth and fulfillment. So, the main point of today is that you have to be very careful and maybe sometimes take some extra attention to inventory the people and the things that we're taking in, right? That mental diet, because remember, psychologically, we have an impact on our physiology. So, big roundabout way to say, guys, pay attention to the people you're around, pay attention to the things you're watching and the things that you're doing. They are feeding you one thing or another. They're either building you up or they're breaking you down. I encourage you, find the things that build you up, stick with those, figure out which ones are breaking you down, and minimize them in your life. But I'm gonna leave it there, guys. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you soon.